today, December 1st, is World AIDS Day. Now, the Global Commission on Drug Policy recently released a report saying that drug use law reforms are key in finally winning the fight against HIV AIDS epidemic. Now, several nations are making headway in this battle by decriminalizing drug use. Now, will the Philippines join the movement? Joe Francisco filed a special report.
Optimism was high during last July's International AIDS Society Conference in Brisbane, Australia. The UNAIDS released a report that shows a clear pathway in ending AIDS by 2030. But despite the significant progress, the World Health Organization reports that HIV remains a pressing public health issue. Among the almost 40 million people living with HIV around the world, 9.2 million do not have access to treatment, and close to 2,000 people still die each day from HIV-related causes, despite availability of helpful medicine and therapy. And a lot of sectors are still being left behind, including adolescents, sex workers, and people who use drugs. Knowing all too well that the aim to end AIDS by 2030 is only possible if the problems of these key communities will be addressed, experts are now pushing for possible solutions.
You cannot effectively deal with wanting to bring the number of new infections down without looking at specifically what you need to do for each group of key population.
The Global Commission on Drug Policy recently published a report saying that decriminalizing drug use is key in protecting users from health hazards, including HIV and hepatitis. A separate Johns Hopkins-led study found no evidence showing that imprisonment is effective in deterring drug use. It was even stressed that incarceration often reduces a person's access to health care and even increases the risk of infection. We discussed the issue with Dr. Adiba Kamarul Zaman, a member of the GCDP who is based in Malaysia. The professor believes there is a need to overhaul drug policies that legally punish and incarcerate people for using drugs, as opposed to admitting them in public health systems.
What we're seeing is the interpretation of that UN Single Convention on Drugs is that we need to be harsh on drug use and continue to implement the war on drugs. But in actual fact, the spirit of the UN Convention on Drugs is for it to be viewed as a public health, and a public health problem, that drug use is a health and public health problem. So what we're seeing now is that more and more countries are moving towards a health and public health approach to drug use. And in fact, there was a UN common position that was signed by all the UN entities for non-violent and personal drug use to be managed as a health and a public health issue rather than through the criminal justice system. And like I said, more and more countries are taking this, moving away from the war on drugs.
Here in the Philippines, President Bongbong Marcos included HIV/AIDS in his first SONA, but it remains to be seen how the new administration will tackle the battle head-on, and if the Philippines will join the international community in implementing reforms on how to handle drug users, especially after former President Duterte's controversial war on drugs that caught the attention of the world.
I think ang masishare ko po sa inyo ano yung current directions na meron sa DOH para sa aming mga doctor or health professionals. No matter how other people look at it, we look at the patient, the person having substance abuse disorder as a pasyente. The second is meron naman pong direction yung current administration for community-based drug rehab. We're readying our health system to receive them. But also definitely kung yan ang direksyon, meron pong kailangan magbago sa batas natin sa RA 9165.
Joey Francisco, we are One News.